Dr. Lamb. For this video, I'm going to construct concrete models of fractions using pattern blocks. Okay, so first I need to define my whole. And I would say that this yellow is my whole. I wouldn't use hexagon yet because depending on the level of students I'm working with, they might not know what a hexagon is. So I'm going to say this is a yellow and it represents my whole. I would have a variety of pattern blocks for my students to manipulate with, and I would ask my students to give me half of the yellow, which is my whole. And the students could play around and they would see that 2 reds equals my whole. So half of my whole is 1 red. Then I would ask my students to find which shapes or which colors fills in my whole, only using 3 of the shapes. So my students would play around with their manipulatives and they would eventually see that 3 blues equals 1 whole. So 1 blue is equal to 1/3 of my whole. Then I would ask my students to figure out which colors fill in my whole 6 times. So my students would play around with their manipulatives and they would see that 6 greens make up 1 of my wholes. So 1 green is 1/6 of my whole. Now, to change it up a little bit, I would change my whole and I would make the blue my whole. And I would ask my students to play around with the different colors and find half of my whole, which is the blue. And after playing around with their manipulatives, my students would see that 2 greens equals 1 blue, which is my whole. So 1 green is 1/2 of my whole. That's it.